My guest is a 39-year-old member of Nigeria's House of Representatives. He's one of the main sponsors of the Not Too Young to Run bill in the National Assembly. And he says he's not too young to run for the office of Governor of Imo State. So he's running. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for Honorable Tony Nwulu. Honorable.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Yes. Wow. Finally, we have you here.
Yes.
Okay. You're representing...
Thank you for the cup of tea.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're representing Lagos State, southwest Nigeria, at the House of Representatives, and you're from the southeast and from Lagos as well. So does it mean that Lagos State is the role model of what Nigeria should be? Where you can feel free to aspire wherever you live and call home? Well,
you're not far from the truth. That's why we call it the Center of Excellence.
Yes.
So it's believed that if every other state
can
emulate Lagos, then Nigeria
will be a better place for all of us.
No doubt about that.
How has it been? I mean, you ran and got your position on the platform of the
People's
Democratic Party.
Yeah.
The ruling government in Lagos State is the APC. Mm-hmm. What has the relationship been at the state level? Now, forget about the national level.
At the state level, it's been awesome. Most importantly, if a governor is performing,
yes,
you would agree that the governor is performing.
Yeah.
Why play politics over everything?
Yeah.
If you give it to the state governor, in fact, Lagos has excelled. Lagos has excelled, and there's nothing to complain about. And I still recall that the last issue that came up, that the public came up against what the governor's decision was, he had to rescind, and on the land...
Tactical rescinding.
However you look at it...
Not completely.
However you look at it, that is also a listening governor anyway.
Okay.
That's the most important thing.
Okay, let us move from that a little bit. Yeah, you represent Lagos, but you're aspiring to be governor of Imo State. Is there no conflict?
How?
You're a representative of Lagos State, all right? But come 2019, with God on your side, you want to be governor in Imo State. There's a seat in Lagos.
Yes.
That is why I'm asking. Why are we not aspiring
I should
to
go and take over Ambode's position.
Yeah. No, I'm asking. I'm not saying you should.
Constitutionally.
Who am I? I'm nobody to tell you what to do.
Constitutionally.
Why not run for governor of Lagos State?
Constitutionally, I am free to run for the governor of Lagos State or Imo State.
Yes.
I choose to run for that of Imo State because...
I was going to ask the because.
Yes, because Imo at the moment is in their need for rescue. Not the rescue that is there at the moment, but...
We have to rescue the rescuer.
We have to rescue the rescuer at the moment.
Wow.
And we need to rebuild whatever is left of Imo.
Wow. So what is the situation in Imo State as it is right now? What is it about Imo State that you want to change?
Well, there are many things, but one of the things I don't do is to come up and castigate the sitting governor or the current government. A lot of politicians who want to do that, they see it as an easy way out. Once you bring them, they try to paint the current government black. And once you're given that opportunity, you still will not do much more than what the current man is doing.
You just said Imo State is in need of rescue.
Absolutely.
And you're going to rescue Imo State.
Absolutely.
The same breath you're saying you don't want to castigate the governor. Because if you say Imo State is in need of rescue, that means...
Okay, no, what I mean... Yes, of course. What I mean is that you see, there are electorates that voted for him. People voted for him, the current governor, and he's been there. And I would rather let posterity judge him when he's done. I wouldn't come out to national television to judge him for any reasons whatsoever.
Nobody's asking you to judge. I didn't ask you to judge. I'm just saying, what is in Imo State now that needs change?
A lot of things.
And I just asked you to give me a few.
Our education.
Okay.
Our infrastructure. The pension. Unemployment. We have a whole lot I can continue to mention.
Okay, thank you.
And the truth about it is that I still vividly recall that you were an SSA in that state.
Yes.
And you will agree with me that there are lots of things to be changed.
I agree totally that if Nigeria as an entity needs overhaul. Okay? But we'll come back and talk about it, ladies and gentlemen. Keep watching. There's still more to come out of this interview. We're just beginning. It's the other news. Yeah, you're still watching the other news. We'll have done the humorous venting on one matter like that. That will be later in the show. For now, though, I'm still in conversation with Honorable Tony Nwulu, a federal legislator from Lagos State and a gubernatorial aspirant in Imo State. Honorable Tony, only you. You know, Lagos State, Imo State. Lucky you. Okay, we'll go back to Imo State. All right? Lots of Imolites are complaining about the state. And on a national level, people see the erection of statues of too many people at the expense of the civil servants who are not getting paid as a problem in the state. You know, what is your take on all these problems happening in Imo State? Do you think it's okay? Do you think there's nothing there? I mean, people are just rambling. What is the situation in Imo State?
People can be rambling when they talk about the issues that are happening in Imo State, which has been escalated to the national level, even international. And what you talked about, the statue, it's quite disgraceful, truly, because for me, I consider that as a waste of taxpayers' money, just like the recent announcement and the composition of a committee to begin to look for those that smoke marijuana. You know, and then you have to pull down their houses if you're caught smoking Igbo. Tell me, in this country, how many people that smoke Igbo that owns houses on the streets? You end up pulling down innocent people's homes in the, under the guise that you're
and there are lots of rich people that smoke Igbo too, but I mean, are you going to go pull down their houses?
The question...
No, it's not just for poor people.
The question you should even ask is that the problem we have in the states? Even among the governor's own aides, how many of them don't smoke Igbo with the way they behave? So he should start the sanitization from his own house to know those that smoke and those that don't smoke. What about the hoodlums that support the whatever thing they are doing?
But it's so ridiculous when the governor is credited with a statement like it is better to steal than to smoke weed. It went viral and it's embarrassing.
It is not only credited; it's on tape. So there's no denial to that fact that. What you're telling us is that we should have more armed robbers in Imo State
than people
that smoke weed. You know, and that in itself, I am not saying that the governor should be checked, but then whoever made that statement should actually be also checked.
Imo State is known to have too many intellectuals. I mean, how did Imo State get to the point where it is now almost like a laughingstock? And what are the people doing? I mean, it looks like when all these things are happening, everybody is just watching. In a democratic setting, I mean, is it that the people are now helpless?
Well, would I say people are helpless, or that we've succeeded in breeding very lousy politicians in this country? And very many people that believe that once they get into power, they turn themselves into demigods of some sort. Yeah. You know, the statements being credited to most people from Imo State in itself is quite ashaming, to say the least. And they're not some kind of statements you expect to come out from a chief executive of a state. Okay,
now he has endorsed his son-in-law to run, which means, I mean, if he succeeds to become flag bearer of their party, the APC, and I don't know what platform you're going to be running on, which it means that at the end of the day, if you're lucky as well, you're all going to end up on the same ballot papers on that day of election. How do you see this scenario playing out?
Well, in my own opinion, I think most Nigerian youths will begin to look for governors' daughters to marry so that they can rise to prominence. That's one. And away from that, you know, the individual has the constitutional right to aspire for whatever thing you want to aspire for. It is left for the people of Imo that have suffered all this while to refuse this singular act or whatever his propositions are.
Let us leave Imo State for a little while. You are the lower house.
You know, we have pensioners in Imo State that are not being paid. before you leave Imo State. And many of them are dying.
Yeah.
You know, we have workers that are not being paid. In fact, the last I know, workers don't work for up to 5 days. They work for like 3 days and the rest. And then Imo State, if you want to talk about the things Imo has been known for, the world over, Imo has the longest cake. We have 27 local governments, and the governor was celebrating his birthday and mandated that every local government donate a cake. So the length of the cake was so high, I mean, so long, and yet you have a whole lot of people.
If Imolites give you the mandate, what are you going to do differently?
Well, to start with, they will begin to see true governance. That is the most important thing, responsive governance. Not what we have at the moment.
That sounds like a general statement. One example.
One example is, what's the need of too many of them called aides that are not doing anything, waste of funds? You begin to look at how to create wealth. And part of the thing we lack in leadership in this country is creative minds. We don't have creative minds in leadership position. The moment we have people that create and not people that feast on what is already there in the state, a lot of
point well taken. Point taken. Now, let's move to the national level. We are part of those who sponsored the Not Too Young to Run bill that lowers the age for people to run for presidency and all that, which is a very good idea. What is the state of that law? Has it been signed into law?
We are waiting for presidential assent. As it is now, I remember you could recall we did a National Day of Action on the 14th of this month. We held that. Has
it been submitted to the president for signing?
No, the National Assembly is here to transmit it to the president.
Okay.
Yes.
So it's not his fault yet. Until you transmit, he cannot sign.
No, until the National Assembly transmits.
Okay, Mona, do give the man to sign. How do we see the economy, the state of this country now and the economy? Safe security is a major issue. Every day we hear stories about Fulani herdsmen killing people. Nobody feels safe in this country. We are not talking about the economy. Of course, the economy right now, I don't think is anything to write home about. As a member of the National Assembly, where do we go to from here? Because Nigerians are tired.
I think we spend a lot of time discussing our problems and not how we even got to where we are at the moment, and how to redeem ourselves from there, which is most key. And how to do that is part of what I had said earlier. A country that lacks creative leaders would not progress.
So these leaders now are not creative?
We don't have much of creative leaders in this country. And creativeness, innovativeness, most of these things go with.
You know, when you say we don't have creative leaders,
most of them, not
we have the executive and the National Assembly. So
at both,
creativity, as far as yes. So you guys are not creative, and the executive
at both. Let me tell you.
Because you're the two arms of government.
At both, everywhere.
Not
us alone, including the judiciary.
Oh, the judiciary, yes.
Everyone, the three arms.
There's lack of creativity.
And there's lack of creativity. And let me escalate this more. You have a situation where Bill Gates resigned from CEO and went to head his creative unit. The same way it is in an organization, that same way it should be in a country. If you lack creative minds, creativeness means you're creating.
Okay, now
when
don't list the problems for me, because I should be doing that. You're a member of the National Assembly. Let me face you now full frontal. You belong to the opposing party.
Yes.
If there's lack of creativity in governance, democratic principles dictate that the opposing party will put the leading party on their toes to be able to achieve results for the people.
Has that lowered the issue?
What is the PDP doing now to make sure that the APC delivers on its promise?
All the while I've been talking, did I tell you that even PDP itself has all their leaders creative? They are not. The question we're talking about.
You count problems for me as well?
No, I'm not counting problems for you.
I should be the one complaining, not you.
Okay,
you send two people there to go and solve problems.
Okay, listen.
And I'm complaining and you're complaining.
Now I am telling Nigerians. I'm telling Nigerians to be mindful of the people you're sending, both at the executive and the legislative.
So we voted for all of you now to be advising us.
No, I said be mindful.
Yeah.
Be mindful means that if in the National Assembly, for instance, talk about Dogara. the Speaker of the House.
Yeah.
He's an erudite lawyer.
Yeah.
If we had quite a good number of them like that, a lot will move forward. But in that same National Assembly, you have people that have seen that place. Their governors brought them there as a resting ground. At the Senate, you have a lot of people that have seen Nigeria Senate as a retirement ground. So if we continue this way, without bringing in people that will come in to challenge the norms and change whatever thing we're seeing as not proper, how do we move forward as a country? It brings us to bringing in youth, infusing young people in positions of leadership. That is what we need mostly.
So young people in leadership. We agree to young people in leadership. What we are saying is that for now your hands are up in the air until the next election when we hopefully will bring young people into a position of leadership, which takes us back to the not too young to run situation. So, okay. When finally the National Assembly decides to send to the president to put assent, and when it begins to yield dividend, we believe that, okay, young people, like you said, are the solution. How do we stop the old people from participating in this process, especially those who should just go and rest?
60%, at least between 52 to 60% of the voting population are young people.
Yeah.
And the people that carry ballot buses are the young people.
Yeah.
The people that also stop ballot bus carrying are the young people. Yeah. If they decide to vote young minds, dynamic minds, enterprising minds, people that will come in to add value, and not someone that probably was at home and resting, and the governor said, come and go to the House of Reps. If they resist such things, we'll begin to march forward. Because whatever thing we see from the legislators to the executive, the electorates should also be blamed for some parts. You said those that voted, but the truth about it is that most elections... I don't like it when the
National Assembly member comes here to tell us that the electorate should be blamed.
No. We have to begin to tell ourselves... No, we have to begin to tell ourselves the truth. Some of your votes did not count. Let us tell ourselves the truth.
So are you saying that the National Assembly member, that you people just got there by your powers?
Votes need to start counting.
Okay.
INEC needs to tighten up their acts well and ensure that we begin to have an electoral process that is transparent.
Okay, now that you mentioned INEC, please, there's one question I need to ask you quickly before time is no longer on our side. I find that political aspirants go through a process of party clearance before they run. Now, after election, sometimes you find a situation where somebody who was cleared by the party and probably cleared by INEC goes to run. He wins an election, then people go to court to challenge based on either educational qualification or tax clearance. Like in your own case, they went to court against you for tax. It got up to the Supreme Court, you won. Okay? Now, how do we get all these things? I feel is a judicial waste of time. If there was a process of clearance before a politician runs, why do we not have cases where people go to court over all these flimsy things and they keep wasting our time?
Judicial waste of time and bad losers.
So why does it even have to go from the lower court up until the Supreme Court when a politician would have been cleared in the first place?
Because we have a faulty system.
And what is the National Assembly? What is the National Assembly doing to correct it?
It is part of what the 8th Assembly is trying to correct. The electoral amendments that is ongoing at the moment. It's part of those things that
How soon can we have this electoral amendment?
I believe you must also give... Let me tell you the truth.
Don't tell me to give you time. How soon?
No. I believe you must also give credit to this current 8th Assembly.
Okay.
We've done a lot, unlike the predecessors.
You would have done a lot in your mind if we don't see result on ground. We the people will see
the bottom line is that even when those things are done, would it make Nigerian youths realize that on election day, the man that gives you 1,000 naira has paid you your salary, your only salary you will earn for your unemployment for the next 4 years that he remains in office? If you look at those little money they dash you on election day to buy your vote, they've only given you that money and you've sold your employment to remain unemployed because the person believes he has given you money and you have no right to question what he does in the office. But the moment Nigerian youths realize that, yes, I am a young person, my future is tied to this ballot. If I give it to you, it must count, and you must represent me well, you must govern me well, And I don't want to hear stories. You hold a person to ransom.
Thank you very much.
That is the most important.
Thank you very much, Honorable Tony Nwulu. Finally, before I let you go, 2019, win or lose, what next for Honorable Tony Nwulu?
You know, the beautiful thing about being young and creative is win and lose. I will continue to do things very well.
Things, hopefully, that will bring about the change.
The change that we are looking for.
Thank you very much. It's been nice talking to you.
Thank you.